Hey, beautiful soul. Welcome to Soulful Saturdays with Saylor. Around here, we cut through the noise, ditch the fluff, and dive straight into what matters: spiritual wellness, radical self acceptance, unapologetic soulful living. Each week, I'll bring you the truth with a side of sass, reflections that wake you up, and reminders that you are glorious. So, whether you got your journal, your coffee, or that wild, messy bun, you are exactly where you are meant to be. Let's be real for a second. You've been shrinking yourself. Yeah, I said it. Shrinking. Tucking away the best parts of you like you're some extra in the movie of your own life. You've been hiding pieces of your brilliance because you're scared of what? Judgment? Rejection? Not being enough? And let me get it to you straight. Your light was never meant to fit in someone else's dim little room. You weren't meant to be the background lighting. You are the darn spotlight. And the world, it doesn't need another watered down, quiet version of you. It needs the you that laughs too loud, dreams too big, and shows up messy, really messy and unapologetic. And I know it is exhausting, isn't it? Always trying to make sure you're smaller, quieter, and more acceptable. Playing nice so nobody gets uncomfortable. Smiling when you're tired. Biting your tongue when you've got fire to spit. It's like living with one foot on the gas and the other on the brake. No wonder you're drained. So here's the truth. This is what we're diving in today: radical self acceptance. I'm not talking about soft little bubble bath kind of self love. Though, hey, I'm all about those bubbles. I'm talking about the kind of self acceptance where you stop apologizing for who you are and start shining so bright people either join the glow or go buy some shades. That's right. They're either going to join you or they're going to have to block the sunshine because you're shining so brightly. This is your permission slip. Actually, no. No. Scratch that. You don't need permission. What you need is the courage to stand tall, take up space, and own your own darn shine. That's exactly what we're going to be talking about today. So let's break it down. What does shrinking, what does self rejection actually look like in the real world? It's saying yes when your whole soul is screaming no. You know that feeling that you're tired, you don't want to go out, you need rest. But you slap on the fake smile and agree anyway. Why? Because you don't want to disappoint. Because you think your no makes you difficult or unlikable. But here's the truth. Every time you do that, you abandon yourself. You put someone else's comfort ahead of your own truth. It's silencing your opinions. Sitting at a work meeting with a brilliant idea in your head and you're swallowing it down because you don't want to sound stupid. Or worse, you don't want to outshine someone else. Or maybe at home, biting your tongue because it's easier to keep the peace than speak your truth. And let me ask you this: peace for who? Because sure isn't peace for you. It's editing yourself like you're this social media manager. You're carefully curating every word, every outfit, every move so you don't rock the boat. Online, you post the safe version of you. In relationships, you keep it shallow so no one sees the messy, real stuff. That's not connection, that's performance. And there's the shame spiral. Oh, this is the nasty one. That little whisper in your head, if people really knew me, they wouldn't love me. If they saw all of me, the weird, the wild, the broken, they'd leave. So you shrink, you hide, you wear the mask. But let me say this loud and clear. The people who can't handle your fullness are not your people, period. And here's where I'm going to get a little bolder because somebody needs to hear this. Shrinking isn't humility, it's self abandonment. And self abandonment is the slowest, quietest way to kill your own spirit. You keep putting yourself in the shadows and wondering why you feel invisible. You're not invisible, you're just hiding. I know this stings a little, but let me tell you, it's not your fault that you learned to shrink. Somewhere along the way, someone taught you that being too loud, too different, too bold was unsafe. Maybe it was your family. Maybe it was at school. Maybe it was a partner, somebody who couldn't handle your shine. So you started dimming, thinking that that's what you had to do to survive. But survival and living, they're not the same. And here's the kicker. Shrinking never saves you. It doesn't protect you from rejection. It doesn't win you more love. It doesn't make you belong. All it does is rob you of yourself. And without you, your real, unedited, unapologetic self, what do you even have to give the world? So, yeah, let's call it what it is. Shrinking isn't noble. It isn't modest. It isn't humility. Shrinking is self abandonment. And you, my friend, you deserve so much better than abandoning yourself. So let me bring this home with just something a little real from my own life. For years, I shrank myself because of my dyslexia. Yep, you heard me. I had this label slapped on me, disability. And in my head, that word became the heavy chain I dragged around wherever I went. I remember sitting in classrooms, shrinking so small in my chair, you could have stepped on me and not even noticed. I was terrified of being called on, terrified someone would see me stumble over a word or mess up a sentence. So I got really good at hiding, really good at making myself invisible. And here's the thing. When you live like that, you start believing the lie that you are less than, that you're broken, that you don't deserve the mic. And for a long time, I believed it. I let that label tell me I wasn't enough. And one day, I had this moment. I realized my dyslexia isn't a weakness. It's my superpower. My brain works differently, and that's exactly why I see things other people miss. It gives me creativity. It gives me grit. And let me tell you, it gives me the ability to stand here now and speak this truth with fire. So yeah, I spent years shrinking because of a word, a label, a story someone else handed me. And maybe that's you too. Maybe your dyslexia looks different. Maybe it's your body, your past, your bank account, your mistakes. Whatever it is, Let me say this. You don't have to keep shrinking under it. You don't have to wear it that chain. Because the moment I stopped letting dyslexia define me as less than, the moment I started owning it as part of my shine, everything changed. And that's the pivot. I want you to feel this in your own life. So let's talk about what this looks like in real life. Because let's be real. Let's just say one thing. Here it is. It's radical self acceptance. That's what it is. Radical self acceptance is about embracing your messy, unfiltered self. And now, how do we actually live that out when the world just keeps telling us to tone it down? Here's the thing. Self acceptance shows up in the small, everyday moments, the one nobody claps for. And that's the change right there. You don't need the clap. No, you don't need the acceptance. Just about showing up, doing all the small things you're meant to do. And for me, one of those small moments was when I finally stopped apologizing for my dyslexia. I used to cover it up, try to hide it, make jokes at my own expense so nobody else would. I thought if I would point it out first, then at least I had some control. Really? That was just me shrinking again. Then one day, instead of apologizing, I said, "Hey, I'm dyslexic. Yep, my brain works differently, and that's why I come up with some of these ideas nobody else in the room thought of." Boom. The whole energy shifted. People leaned in. They saw me not as a person to pity, but someone to pay attention to. That was self acceptance in action. So think about your own life. Where do you edit yourself? Maybe it's at work. You've got the answer in the meeting, but you don't speak up because you're scared of looking dumb. Or maybe it's with your family. You avoid saying how you really feel because you don't want to stir the pot. Or maybe it's online. You only share the shiny, filtered parts of your life while the real, messy, beautiful truth gets shoveled in the closet. Here's the truth. The more you hide, the more disconnected you feel. And the more you shine, even just a little, the more magnetic you become. People don't want the polished version of you. They want the human version. Think about the last time you heard someone be raw, like the ugly cry. Didn't you feel something stir inside you? Didn't you feel connected? That's the power of authenticity. That's radical self acceptance in action. Now let me give you a personal everyday moment. I remember being at the grocery store one day, completely frazzled, makeup smeared, hair doing its own wild thing. Normally I duck my head and hope nobody saw me. But that day I thought, you know what? This is me. This is what showing up looks like today. And instead of hiding, I smiled at the cashier, laughed at myself, and suddenly the interaction was lighter, warmer, more human. Self acceptance doesn't have to be dramatic. Sometimes it's like deciding that you don't need to apologize for existing in your own skin. And listen, I know it's not easy. We live in a world that thrives on comparison. You're constantly told to fix yourself, fix your body, fix your mindset, fix your house, fix your Instagram. But radical self acceptance says, you're not broken. You don't need fixing. You need embracing. So let me ask you, what's the one thing that you've been hiding? That part of you think makes you too much or not enough? What is that thing that actually is your gift? What if it is your gift? Kind of like my dyslexia. What if that scar, that quirk, that story you keep tucked away in the very thing someone else is waiting to hear? So they feel like they're not alone. Because when you start showing up fully, messy, loud, imperfect, you give others permission to do the same thing. And that's how real connection, real freedom, and real joy starts to flow. All right, so let's talk about what changes when you stop shrinking. Because this isn't just some fluffy self help idea. This is about your whole life transforming when you finally decide to stop abandoning yourself. And here's the shift: when you stop shrinking, confidence rises. Not the fake kind where you plaster on a smile, the but the grounded kind that says, "Hey, I know who I am. I'm good enough with that." It's the kind of confidence that doesn't scream, it radiates. People feel it before you even open up your mouth. So when you stop shrinking, confidence rises. And when you stop shrinking, your relationships get real. Instead of playing small to some people's comfort, you show up as yourself. And that either deepens the connection or it clears the room of people who can't handle your light. And let me tell you, both outcomes are wins. When you stop shrinking, peace shows up because you're no longer fighting yourself. You're not editing, performing, or calculating every move. You're just being. And there is nothing more freeing than being at home in your own skin. And here's a little bonus: when you stop shrinking, you become magnetic. People are drawn to authenticity like bees to honey. Why? Because it's rare. In a world of filters and facades, being real is the ultimate glow up. Now, let me get real for a second. You are not meant to live half a life. You are not meant to play the side character in your own story. You are the main character. You are the star. You are the light. And when you shine, you don't just change your own life. You give permission for everyone around you to shine too. So here's your shift. Stop asking, what will they think if I'm fully me? And start asking, what will it cost me if I keep shrinking? Because the cost is too high. It's your joy, your peace, your purpose. They're all waiting on the other side of self acceptance. And the moment you choose to stop shrinking, you'll realize you were never too much. You were always just enough. Shrinking is abandonment, period. When you mute your voice, when you downplay your brilliance, you're basically telling your soul you don't matter. And that's a lie. Your soul matters. Your story matters. You matter. So here is your mantra for the week: I refuse to shrink. I choose to shine. That's right. I refuse to shrink. I choose to shine. And your soul task? Catch yourself in one moment this week where you'd normally play small, whether it's staying quiet in a meeting, dimming your joy around friends, or hiding your gifts. Instead, flip the script. Speak up, smile bigger, and share your truth. because the world doesn't need a watered down version of you. It needs the full, glorious, unfiltered version. And remember, shrinking is abandonment, period. So stop shrinking and stop self-abandonment and start shining. Thank you for sharing this Soulful Saturday with me. As you move through your week, carry this truth in your heart. You are worthy, you are radiant, and your presence matters. And never forget, stay soulful, stay sassy, stay you. I'll see you next Saturday, beautiful soul. Same time, same vibe, same glorious energy.